I'm gonna just talk about Collagraph. Okay. First things to do is you have to coat the plate with matte medium. Okay. So if you have a plate of this size, you should coat. But some of the matte medium, gel medium can be a little bit too thick. Okay, so if your matte medium is too thick, I probably recommend you to dilute with the water rather than using straight. Okay, so I'm gonna put the water here, and you can use some flat brush like this rather than using a piece of paper. But key is your matte medium has to be soft enough, so when you are doing this, you don't get that much brush mark. Does it make sense? And it's good to coat both sides so as edges. Otherwise, when you are going through the washing after inking, you don't get too much water. You don't want to get too much water absorbed in the paper. So that's why you have to be shielding this. Okay. And you have to do both front and back side. So once you are plate is being coated with gel medium, you can use a pencil to draw this time, because this is not transparent like a plexiglass or polypropylene plate. So if you have some subject, you can transfer if you want by shading on the back side, or you can just look at and then draw directly onto the plate with pencil. So that's probably fun part. You can draw. I'm just drawing, just giving you an idea. Just you can do this if before you start to scratch. Okay, you can use anything for scratching. If you do a scratching with an etching needle, those create burrs. Okay. What the X-Acto knife can do is, of course, you can do all this scratching too, but at the same time, you can also make very fat line and take that and peel off to create some. It's a little bit difficult to print. Okay, so it's not necessary you should do this. I feel like it's better to create, my experience with a spoon printing, probably better to just scratch and create burrs to hold ink. So you can just scratch the plate. It's similar to plexiglass or polypropylene. Maybe it's just my graphite pencil. Maybe graphite pencil is being smeared, I guess. Probably. That's right, become kind of dark. Okay. You could do this, but it's harder to print. If you want to create a big shape of black, you could be actually cut the shape of the black and peel off. To show rough side here, and this holds more ink to make black. But it's a little bit harder to print this one. Let me show you some results. So this is my plate. I got both hatching, right? All this hatching, but also I peeled off this, all this big shape. The surface layer is being peeled off to show textured surface on the underneath. Okay, the problem is when I print, it was a little bit difficult. First of all, my Japanese sketch paper, which I use for woodblock class. Sharon, you still have this paper. That was too wimpy. I torn the paper because it was very fragile paper. So I don't recommend that actually. And I used some other Japanese paper. It didn't get torn, but at the same time, with a spoon, it was so difficult to make, to avoid this little white halo space here, right? So I think it's better to just use a etching needle to scratch rather than making this kind of a fat line. Okay, so just a similar method to plexiglass dry point. Just scratch to make something darker. The difference between Drypoint and Collagraph? Good question. If you're using a cardboard, you can do many things. This, I have another second video which you can see later, okay? This gel medium can be utilized as adhesive, okay? You could be putting some objects here as a collage if you want to, okay? For example, you can put some flat objects here. You can glue that, okay? Or even you can go like this and peel it and you get some texture here while the gel medium is still wet, okay? So it's called Collagraph because you can make some collage surface for printing. I'm gonna show you some of my plates like that. I've actually adhered some tarlatan cloth here and some like kind of a screen mesh here. And also I peeled the surface layer off. So I made some texture by this gel medium, just I made some brush marks, okay? So you can create all these different texture for printing purpose, okay? If you have an etching press, you know, we skipped we just learned about the soft ground with objects, right? And you can do pretty much similar thing with the Collagraph. Some people wanna just, oh, I wanna use some collage on this project rather than just all these scratch marks, right? It's a little bit harder to print without having etching press. You may end up to be printing something like this. Just you may end up to be just printing like a relief rather than intaglio. But it's fun. You can introduce a lot of textured object. For example, here is tarlatan cloth. And this is maybe a scotch tape or like a masking tape, right? And this is some kind of screen, right? And maybe just using a bunch of paper collaged, and you all glue those papers with a matte medium or gel medium, okay? So you can do some collage approach if you wish to have some kind of textured object printed, okay? So plexiglass, you can still do it, but it's a little, it doesn't make sense to do on plexiglass because you would rather use a translucency of the plexiglass. But this cardboard, it's not, rather than just drawing on the mat board, you can do some collage on top of this with some textured objects. Does it make sense? The second video is actually showing that process a little bit. These are my mat board Drypoint from 2016. So these are all just by etching needle. And when I print, I use a little bit of Q-tip to get some highlight. By the nature, it doesn't become totally, you may get a lot of plate tone in this medium. So in order to get some very much highlight, you have to use Q-tip or something to remove some of the plate tone. Okay, so these are all from scratching by etching needle. I'm leaving some extra plate tone to make some halo effect here too. I did this one as an almost sketch. I brought that plate to field, and I was scratching outside, not from photograph. These are not coming from photograph. These are all coming from Drypoint in the middle of the field. May not be permanent. It may be only for a few times. Okay, probably you cannot make a huge edition of this from this. These are all, maybe this one I worked from photograph, I don't remember, but since this was from inside, right? So it's, in a way, it's just you are doing some scratching and making sketch onto cardboard, and you ink up and you print. And this is a very thin Japanese paper, but probably you can still print on 300 Strathmore if you just press enough.